Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about giving love a chance. Let's give love a chance. But before I do, I just want to wish my beautiful Angeline Dolopo a happy 21st birthday. She is 21. My other daughter is 14, and the other one is 7, and our dog is 11. So we have a 777 and an 11. I think that's just really awesome. Someone pointed that out to me, and since that's a pretty rare thing for most people to have children spaced out 7 years apart, I thought I'd share that. So the topic today is give love a chance, and I've shared this with a few of my clients, a few of my patients here, that I wanted my next video to be about give love a chance. And men and women have both said, I want to watch that video. So I'm going to read, and maybe give some of my 2 cents on this topic. And perhaps it may be of benefit to at least one of you. Life can be messy. You've heard me say this in other videos. Time, money, relationships are what Dr. Richard Tefo Tan would talk about. Time, money, and relationships are the things people freak out about the most. But then there's also what I add to that, health and freedom. Your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health. And when we're not happy in one thing, it usually trickles, it bleeds into other aspects of our lives. So when I say give love a chance, it means that, allow yourself to give love and allow yourself to receive love, no matter how messy, how painful life might have been um, in the far distant past or recent. So I'm going to read some stuff and hopefully it makes sense to you. All right. And I do want to share at the very end, I'm going to give a little thing about snoring, a wonderful testimonial about snoring. I think it took me 4 or 5 treatments to basically treat this woman snoring so that she and her husband can be happy in their bed. So give love a chance. Number 1, learn how to forgive, and learn how to forgive without expectations. Forgiveness is really an elusive term until you really have to do it. Forgiveness is something many people, if a lot of times people will say, I wouldn't be able to forgive that. That is unforgivable. Yet we say this prayer, the Our Father, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So, God, I want you to forgive me just like I would forgive others. And I got to live by that, because if I want the God that I believe in, if I want God to forgive me, then I have to be willing to forgive other people. And I don't expect other people to live by the same credence, but that's basically what it means. Forgive without expectations. And it is really freeing when you can forgive. I can talk about that for at least 2 hours, so I just want to give you that 2 cents, something to chew on. Learn how to forgive without expectations. What if someone violates you? What if someone, violates your trust? What if someone hurts you? You know, it's are you willing to forgive? And this is my 26th year practicing Eastern medicine, and something that I share with people is, look, that forgiveness has to be authentic, and it has to come at your pace, and it's got to be something that you can do at your pace, in your time, not something like, I forgive that person. It's got to be something that you really can believe in. And just be gentle with yourself. If you know you can't forgive someone right now, just be open to the idea that maybe later you might be able to forgive them. Just something to consider. So that's the first one. Learn how to forgive without expectations. The second concept is make a decision and let go. Make a decision. There are 3 sides to a coin. You can do something, you can not do something, or you can wait. You don't have to make a decision right now. You can wait. Make a decision and let go. So be like Winnie the Pooh. That was actually one of my books that was required reading for Chinese medical school, The Tao of Pooh. I haven't read it in a while. I want to read it again. But what I remember most about that book, that amazing book, was, he would get stuck. And he said, well, I'm stuck, so I'm just going to wait. And remember when he got stuck in the window? And the more you, freak out about something, it can be, you create this resistance. So my husband loves collecting watches, and for I don't know how many weeks he had lost I believe his Speedmaster. It's one of his, I think, his favorite watch. He loves it. It's something that's, it's a he can use it. It goes with everything. He likes the bracelet that he has with it. I think he changes the bracelet. Well, he got to this point where he was searching everywhere, his car and everything. And I said, just, the moment you stop looking, it'll show up. The elves in our house will just stop playing with you. And I grew up in a Catholic household, and my Lola, my grandmother, would say, pray to St. Anthony. And I said, you pray to St. Anthony. Every time I ask for the intercession of St. Anthony, it always shows up, always, 100%. So whether you believe in that or not, for whatever reason, it works for me. And so I can tell this really, really bothered him. So I got on my knees and I said, St. Anthony, please let this watch show up. Less than 2 hours later, I get this text message. He goes, I found it, and he told me where it was. And he had been looking for a while. So why am I bringing this up? The let go part. The let go part. I wrote down, make a decision and let go. You can use this for anything. Someone hurts you, make a decision. And ideally, that decision would be to forgive and let it go. Whatever it is that you're having a hard time with, don't worry. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Worrying is negative goal setting. So whatever it is, let it be. If you decide you want to stay in a situation, stay, make the decision and let go of the past. If you decide you want to walk away from a situation that's hurting you, then walk away and let it go, and don't let it affect you. You don't need to keep rehashing the story. And that is hard, that's really hard to not go back to a story and keep bringing it up. I understand that, but it serves us no good. And trust me, I understand that far more than you know. But when I'm able to move on, it's usually when I make a decision and I let go. So let go like Winnie the Pooh. Just let go. When they say, what would Jesus do? Just think of one of your favorite mentors. What would that person do? In the sense of Jesus, I mean, I don't know what Jesus would do, but I think letting go would probably be one of them. I don't know. I'm not an expert when it comes to the Bible. I do my best to read, but there are times when I think it would just be like, not going to let this bother me. Before it was an eye for an eye. Then when Jesus came around, it was like, you know what? Forgive. When they slap one face, give them one side of the face, give them the other cheek, right? Let go. Don't let it bother you, and make a decision. Do I want to be in the situation? If so, I'm going to stay, and I'm going to let go of the past. That is very, very difficult to do, but make the decision. If you decide, I'm not going to deal with this anymore, then let go, and don't let the past harm you anymore. It's going to be healthier for you. I can tell you that. It's going to be a lot healthier. I'm not going to allow cancer or autoimmune issues or anything severe affect my health. In our medicine, in Chinese medicine, the energy of the liver has to do with anger, stress, resentment, pent-up emotions, controlling the emotions, depression, all these negative, rigid feelings. The heart has to do with joy and sadness, especially when it comes to like severe sadness that you just, isn't it more nice to live in a state of joy? The energy of the spleen, pancreas has to do with overthinking, worrying, ruminating, what if this, what if that, what if this, what if that? You're in the spiral, and that spiral usually doesn't go up, it usually goes down when we're in the state of, paralysis by analysis, when we're in this place of, if I do this and that, and what if that happens, what if this happens, that what if syndrome can really be detrimental to your health. I've been practicing Eastern medicine since 1999, and I have seen how just the liver energy and the spleen energy can really affect someone's digestion. I can go on and on about these difficult, very challenging diseases, but I will just share with you that the more you can forgive, going back to number one, and just live in a state of peace and just letting go and being at peace with the decision, even if it's just to wait. Do something, don't do something, or just wait, just chill for a little bit. Let your limbic system just chill for a little bit, just a minute where you can breathe, and you'll have more clarity when you want to make the decision. So, that worrying. And then there's the lungs that have to do with grief of a loss of a relationship, grief, the loss of a loved one, a person, a parent, a child, a sibling, a pet, a great friend. Um, that's what the lungs have to do with. It has to do with grief. And the energy of the kidneys, we're talking all energy here. The energy of the kidneys has to do with fear, anxiety, just always being anxious, being in fight or flight. When they say stress is a silent killer, I can tell you, as someone who's studied Chinese medicine since 1994, I have seen how stress really is a silent killer when it comes to heart issues, digestive issues, and we're talking about the serious ones. Stomach cancer, ulcer, diverticulitis, um, you know, congestive heart failure, pulmonary issues. These things just don't happen. They're things that happen overnight. And when these negative emotions, these stuck emotions, these emotions that are stuck, and this is something that I think is incredible about Chinese medicine, where they have been able to understand, map out the diseases of the body and the mind and the spirit, and how, if you study some neuroscientists, they talk about this axis of the brain and the gut and, these different parts of the body, your endocrine system, and fertility and all that. When you can start connecting the dots in Chinese medicine, not looking at things as separate entities, but how we work together, especially when it comes to the emotions. Okay, letting go with the anger so that we don't feel the need to drink alcohol or to self-medicate. Letting go of the worrying so we don't have to, make ourselves feel better by eating sweets and salty and over consuming foods because we are self-medicating with food. The energy of the kidneys has to do with fear and anxiety, this constant fight or flight where it affects our sleep, and we're worrying and we can't think, and we have this brain fog that's affecting the energy of the spleen and all these other, they're all intertwined. So going back to make a decision and let go. Try that. Make the decision. What's worked for me historically is I will think about something, and if I'm still thinking about it after 10 minutes, I'm going to act on it. But if it's a more serious condition, issue in life, I will give it 24 hours. And if it's something that I'm still thinking about and worrying about the next day, I'm going to act on it, because then I don't want to prolong it a week later, 2 weeks later, and I'm still thinking about it. That works for me. Something that's also worked for me is if in the Batsa training that I received from Dr. Kan would be if we're um, when, let's say, the river is flowing so hard and all you see is the river going down to the waterfall, and you're gonna fall. Well, just go with it instead of going upstream and not, being able to, when we feel out of control. When we feel out of control physically, emotionally, and spiritually, oftentimes that makes us feel like we're out of control physically, and vice versa. So sometimes it benefits us to just let go of the control, let go of this incessant need to control. I, of all people, understand that. But when I just let go and just say, you know what? It's all going to work out. Somehow, some way it's going to work out. I'm so lucky. It's all going to work out, because you can't stop people from being who they are. But if you go back to learn how to forgive, lower your expectations, you know, just enjoy yourself to the best that you can every moment, feel a little better, somehow, some way, that need to control, the need for other people to do things so that you're happy, it goes away. So number 3, focus on what really matters and focus on nothing else. Don't let anything distract you. What is it that matters? The health of the people you love, your health, your ability to think. Something tragic happened to me last year, and I never took a day off. I never had to, because I just focused on what matters the most. And the people who stood by me, I know who they are, and the people who, just for whatever reason, they fell off, the side of the road. It's okay because I let go of expectations. It's important to focus on what we really want. You get what you think about most of the time, and don't get distracted by anything else. When you have that singleness of purpose, when you have like, okay, this is the direction I'm going, and this is what feels right, then you can not be distracted. So what's the title of this? The title is Give Love a Chance. So what does Give Love a Chance have to do with forgiveness? Love has everything to do with forgiveness, because none of us are perfect. You are not perfect. I am not perfect. The people around us are not perfect. And the moment you can forgive at the most authentic moment for yourself, you'd be surprised how that catapults the level of your love for the world, for the people that you love, and the love that you desire. Because all of us want to feel seen, all of us want to be heard, all of us want to feel like we matter. I have yet, out of the thousands of people that I've met professionally and also personally, I have yet to meet someone who really doesn't care, truly doesn't care what other people think. There is, all of us love to hear our name matter and to feel applauded and feel edified and feel like we matter and that we are worth forgiving. You are worth forgiving. I am worth forgiving. The people around me are worth forgiving. So it sounds a lot like letting go of the ego, right? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Make a decision and let go. That has a lot to do with love. It has a lot to do with love. Give love a chance and let go of anything negative. Anything negative. Sometimes, especially if you're in a moment of tragedy where it just feels like, my gosh, it doesn't feel like it's fair. We love fair. Human beings, we love fair. But when you can let go, you give love a chance instead of, making sure it stays. It better stay. It's tough, right? But give love a chance and learn how to swallow your ego. Focus on what really matters. So when it comes to your lover or your family, or, whether it's your child or your parent or a great friend, focus on what matters. Number one, they're alive, which means their story's not done. And you have the power to see the great in them. So something I like to live by is look at a person for who they can be and not for who they are. Judge a person for what they do that they don't have to do. I have been very blessed. My husband and I have been very blessed to have people around us who do things, go above and beyond, extend themselves to help us, to help, I see it in my life. There are people in the last few months who did a lot more for me than I have done for them, and they just give altruistically. Now, nothing truly is altruistic. There's always something, even if it means them feeling good about it. But it feels nice to know people are willing to extend. So receive that. I sent a message to my friend today, and I said, I'm sending you love. And she said, I'm doing my best to receive it. And I said, receive it. Receive it, because in order to give it, you must receive it. In order to receive it, you must give it. It's a yin-yang. Here's my little yin-yang. And it is symmetrical. This easily could have been a square, a triangle, an oval, however the Chinese wanted to make it. But the sages made it a circle, very equal. And you're looking at the black over the white and white over the black. You're looking at symmetry, total symmetry. For every action is an equal and opposite reaction. Going back to forgiveness. If you want to be fully forgiven for the things that you might have done to people, or assume that you might not be perfect in the future, there's a wonderful opportunity to forgive people for what they've done to you. Let go. Focus on what really matters the most. And stay with uplifting people. That's number 4. Stay with uplifting people. Stay with the people who want the best for you and are willing to listen. And you're able to share without people cutting you off. And people, when they do cut you off, listen. I'm reading this amazing book called The Power of the Praying Wife by Stormy. I forgot her last name, but it's in my car, and it's such a great book. And she talks about, so basically whatever it is, I want to get her last name so I can share it here. The Power of the Praying Wife, Stormy. Martian or Omartian. It looks like Martian, but it's Omartian, no apostrophe. Stormy, Stormie. And basically, what you're going to learn from this book is whatever it is. Again, if you take Dr. Tan's topic, time, money, relationships, those are usually why would people, for example, get divorced? Or why would people have antagonism, contention amongst, there's time, you're not moving fast enough, or there's some kind of deadline, or relationships, there might be a betrayal, or a betrayal of trust among friends, or betrayal of trust with lovers, um, time, money, money, like financial issues, health. I've seen people leave someone because the spouse or the other person wasn't healthy, and time, money, relationships, health, and freedom. I've seen people stop talking to each other from COVID because they didn't agree, and God knows what's going on right now, given the current political climate we're at, where people just are intolerant of other people. Well, you can, first of all, I believe anything is reparable if everything is repairable, if both parties are really willing to work it out. And if you are willing to be an uplifter, if you want people around you to be uplifting in your goals, you need to be the person who's uplifting to them. And something magical happens if you can be uplifting to other people, is that you just don't have the expectations that they would do the same for you. So be with uplifting people. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but when you're with people who have high vibration, who are loving, you're going to vibrate that all day, and you're going to get more of that, more of those great people in your life. The situations, the circumstances, the events, the people, those people just magically show up. I do believe in positive magic. I mean, there's dark magic, but I accept into my life amazing magic, amazing, incredible miracles. Miracles happen in my life all the time. I'm just constantly thinking that how amazing miracles just constantly happen. And guess what? I say it, I believe it, and then I see it. Something to consider. Number 5, be willing to accept love. I kind of touched on that earlier. Be willing to accept love, that I shared with my girlfriend today. I said, hey, I'm sending you love. And she said, I'm really trying to receive that today. Just be willing to accept love, you know? Like a bird feeding the baby. The baby is not like, oh, I don't deserve this food. They're hungry. So be hungry for the zest of life. Be hungry for the greatness of life. Accept the best in life. Expect the best in life. We get what we think about most of the time. So sometimes I'll have people here where they're so distraught and so brokenhearted that their health is not where they want it to be. So then I say, what is it that we want? And what would be manageable? What can we accomplish in the next 2 weeks or 2 months? And if you feel 50, 80, 90+% better, will you be happy? Yes, I'll be happy. Well, then let's focus on the next logical step. So be willing to accept love. When you can accept love, you accept healing. I have a patient where she, it's a horrible situation. The marriage is dissolving. It dissolved, and there was a lot of hatred and distress and turning children against each other. And then the kids are in the middle. That's really, really hard. And I don't want to go into that, but just know that if you're in this space where you want to receive love, consider giving the love, especially the person who probably acts like they need it the least, because the person who needs it the least is probably the person who acts like they don't need it, needs it the most. They need it the most. So be willing to accept love, therefore be willing to give love. Give love a chance. Swallow your pride, let go of your ego. Number 6. So not too long ago, I dealt with some stuff. It was very painful. How I was able to pivot was swallowing my pride and let go of my ego. And that's important to understand, that if you want people if you're going to forgive people, you got to be willing to be forgiven, and vice versa. You cannot be forgiven if you don't let go of your pride. If the humility is not there, you got to be willing to let go. That has to come at your own pace, but hopefully the audios you listen to, the books that you read, the seminars you attend, the people around you who listen, who are willing to listen, they're all uplifting people who are willing to listen to you and not talk trash about the people who might be hurting you. That's important. The more negative energy we put out there, the more we are in the situation where just more negative stuff happens. Something to consider, putting out the negative energy, it's a boomerang. You're going to get that negative energy back, if not with more speed, more intensity. And I learned that the hard way. So this world has a powerful way to teach us our lessons. And being 51 now, I've learned a lot of lessons, and that's where wisdom comes in. So be willing to love. Be willing to give love a chance. Be willing to swallow your ego. Every time you point your finger, that's 3 fingers pointing at you. Someone said to me today, I wouldn't be able to forgive that person. I wouldn't be able to. And I understand. I completely understand. So you make a decision. Do I want to stay or do I want to go? Is this a relationship I want to stay in, or is this a relationship I want to leave? Do I want to let go of this friendship, or do I want to let go of that friendship? Do I want to stay in the friendship, the relationship, or do I want to let go? Make the decision and do it peacefully, and don't talk your trash on the way out. You know, there's enough negative energy out there. You know, there's that saying, not today, devil, not today. Well, if you're going to feed into that negative behavior, guess who wins? The dark angel or the good angel? And so feed more that good angel part of you. Feed more the yang part of you. Feed more the part of you that you want to see more of in this life. And in order to do that, I truly believe you have to let go of your ego, let go of your pride, let go of being right. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? That's powerful. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Understand how you could have played a part in this tragedy or this disaster, this negative event. That's a hard one, right? How could you have been a part of this? That is the part where many people don't like to hear. I caused this situation in my life. So therefore, I have to take responsibility. You hear this a lot from some major gurus on YouTube, and people that stand on stage and they're 100% right. Something to consider. But if you can, that the only way you can understand your part in something was like, well, it's not my fault. That moment you say it's not my fault, you close off the ability to fully forgive that person. I have found that when someone does something negative and hurts me, and I'm willing to stay quiet, accept my part of what happened, take full responsibility for how I may be feeling, and forgive. Now, all this comes together, because in order to stay quiet, that means I have to let go. When I am not quiet, I'm angry and I'm spewing out negative energy. But when I'm able to stay quiet and listen and be in a particular situation where I might say, tell me more, or, not feel defensive, that's when the relationship can progress. There's an amazing, gosh, I just watched a couple of his videos a few weeks ago. Steven something. He was on Diary of a CEO, and he's a 5th generation trial attorney. Let me find him. Diary of a CEO, trial attorney. Stephen Bart. There he goes. Stephen Bartlett. I think that's who he is. And I thought it was Stephen Bartlett on YouTube. I really liked this guy because he talked about Stephen Bartlett, trial attorney. What I really liked about, here he is. Yes, I'm thinking about these things while we're making the video. What I loved about his video, his interview with Diary of a CEO, was that, let me make sure that's his name. That's the actual attorney. Oh, Jefferson Fisher. Jefferson Fisher. Jefferson Fisher. So why was this an important video for me to watch? Because he's a fifth generation trial attorney, and he said when you're in this situation where you're in an argument, let them speak. And your first word should be a deep breath, and then another deep breath, and then breathe. And then say what it is that you want to say. And that takes a lot of letting go of the ego to do that instead of heading straight on. Let's pull that in with the book, The Power of the Praying Wife. Whatever it is that the issue is, shut up and pray. If you don't read the book, that's the essence of the book. Whatever it is that the argument is about with your spouse, whether it's lies, money, infidelity, job, all the standard things, children, unfairness, shut up and pray is the essence of that book. I do recommend you read that book. And so when you mix it with Jefferson Fisher's trial attorney, being able to breathe, and he believes that the best argument is when you're not arguing. So like in jiu-jitsu, how do you get out of side control? Well, don't get in side control. Don't get into the argument. But if you do get in the argument, breathe, then breathe again. That's harder than it is. But in order to do that, you have to swallow your pride. You have to swallow your ego. You have to learn how to forgive. Have the Winnie the Pooh attitude. I'm here. Say what you need to say. Tell me more. Focus on what matters most. And if you want that person who's arguing with you to be an uplifter, you must be the uplifter. So understand how you could have played a part in this situation where you're not happy. Just take a moment. Someone hurt you. Someone betrayed your trust. Someone pissed you off somehow. Someone hurt you emotionally. If they hurt you physically, you got to get out of there. But if it's something where it really takes a lot to forgive them, but you want to stay in the relationship, let go. Be the one with the higher ground. Walk on the higher ground. And trust me, it may not seem like it, but there's going to be a moment where that person is going to turn around. And if that person doesn't turn around, guess what will happen? Someone else in your life will. Someone else in your life will turn around, and you will feel heard. You will be seen. You will feel loved. So just something to consider. So I've got 3 more. Take accountability. We talked about that. Take accountability. That's really hard, It's really easy to say, it's your fault. It's your fault. Car accident happens. It's your fault. It's your fault. We live in this litigious world. It's your fault. We do not accept blame. Do not accept blame. It's your fault. And there are times in life, especially when you want to repair a relationship, where you might want to just say, I take accountability regarding this. I'm here, and what can I do to help? I want to repair this friendship, this love, this marriage, this, your job, whatever it is. Time, money, relationships, health, and freedom. How about yourself? Are you willing to forgive yourself? Are you willing to take accountability for your life and start the process, take the steps to make amends? Because if you do, a year from now, you can look a lot different. A year from now, you can be 20 to 50 pounds lighter. You can also be 20 to 50 pounds heavier. You can have a better credit score. You can drive a better car. You can, you can have another degree, or be halfway through or a third of the way to getting a new degree. You can become homeless, or you can make more money. I mean, so much can happen in a year. Take accountability. I have found that when I take accountability, something magical happens. You notice the word magical comes out a lot? It's this free flow of energy. So when I help people, if you go to elementsandharmonyacupuncture.com and you see some of the really tough cases that I've worked on, a lot of it was helping people swallow their pride, take accountability, understand how they could have been part of this quote unquote disaster that's going on in their life. And their restless leg feels better. They're able to sleep better. The cancer they were supposed to die from, their oncologist said you have a few months to live, and now they're still living, and they're under the care of the oncologist. They're getting treatment from me, and their quality of life is better. Their autoimmune issues, they don't feel inflamed. The body follows the mind follows the spirit. Something really magical happens when we take accountability instead of blaming people, because just in essence of blaming the other person, you create inflammation. Something to consider. Just something, you know, something to consider from someone who's been studying Chinese medicine since 1994. The more we point the finger at someone else, the more we're angry with someone else, the more we play victim, the more inflamed we are. Something to just really consider. So when I'm healing people from brain hemorrhage, I've had a few of those patients, migraines, joint pain, digestive issues, unable to walk, unable to eat, unable to digest, unable to poop, whatever it is that they're unable to do, the moment we allow the person to breathe, allow the person to be happy, allow the person to feel happier, and forgive the past, and it's water under the bridge. That does not matter anymore. What matters most is that you're still alive, the people you love are still alive, and people want to be forgiven. And if you're willing to just let go of your ego, guess what will happen? Magic. Amazing, great magic happens. So seek help from professionals. Seek help from professionals. Read and listen to uplifting audios. There are great organizations out there. There are great professional networking organizations, personal growth organizations. I have some referrals. I'm in an organization. You can go to church. You can, be around uplifting people. Seek professional help. Go see a therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist. I did a video on tapping. So just tapping. I'm so grateful for the love I have in my life. I'm so grateful for the wealth that I'm creating. I'm so grateful for all of my needs being met. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. There are people who are far more adept to this, but I, as an acupuncturist, have added a few other these are the basic things. I'm so grateful for my relationship. I'm so grateful for the happiness in my life. I'm so grateful that people are forgiving me. I'm so grateful for that people who are loving. I'm so grateful for the hot food in my life. I'm so grateful for my safety. Everything that I'm sharing is about, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. First thing I think about is how grateful I am. How grateful I am. It's so much more powerful. Every day when my little boy, my 7-year-old, gets ready, after do his hair, we sit down and we pray. And the thing that I have him focus on the most is, I'm so grateful. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. And writing down with a blue pen and white paper. Blue pen and white paper. This is my gift to my patients when they come in. Blue pen, white paper. I am so grateful. So just writing down, thank you. For me, I'll put God. And just that. Thank you, God. And then that. Whatever it is that you believe in, thank you. If it's God, the universe, whatever it is that you worship and adore, if you're an atheist, just saying thank you to life puts you in this positive state. Now we're putting out positive particles. When you put out positive particles, guess what happens? You're able to let go. You're able to forgive. You're able to let go of your ego. You're able to let water go under the bridge. Just stay under the bridge. You're able to allow uplifting people to come into your life. You're able to focus on what matters the most. You're able to accept love. You're able to give love. And you're able to swallow your pride, able to swallow your ego. You can understand where you could have been part of this negative situation. And the sooner you let go of, you understand, okay, I could have been part of this somehow. So now that I let that go and I forgive myself and I ask for forgiveness, if it's in you, then you can move on. Pain-free, debt to no one, in debt to no one, because you're able to move on. Seek help from professionals. It's really hard to seek help from professionals when you don't feel like you did anything wrong, But if you're able, I'm a professional. If you seek help from a therapist, a psychologist, psychiatrist, someone who's willing to help you and listen to you, You know, that, when I hear people like, I don't want to do therapy. Well, you know, then find something that's going to help your relationship. Because usually what I see here, the pain is usually, when I see people in pain, those are usually people who are unwilling to admit their faults, and they're unwilling to do the work it takes to create a new chapter in their lives. So something to consider. And number 10, keep strong lines of communication. Again, another thing that's very difficult to do for many people, because right when things get tough, many people can get defensive, talk really fast, talk over the other person. And so if that's the case, instead of getting angry, listen. Because usually when a person is defensive, they're coming from a place of hurt. And so, again, that the power of the praying wife, if you can just listen and pray and just be willing to be there. And if two people who are suffering are willing to hear each other out, or at least for now, one person is willing to be the better person, you'd be surprised how soon the other person might catch up. Again, I'm not talking about people who physically hurt each other, but everything is repairable. If the issue is health, you can repair your health. And for some things, maybe just to a certain extent, and many things you can have higher quality of life. Freedom. You don't have to blame other people if you feel like your freedom is being taken away. There is a lot of fear going on right now in our country, in the United States, and get to this place internally where you can look, you can see what is right. Because the moment we start looking at the things that we can easily fear, or the things that we're not happy with, that's when we create more resistance in our lives, and we start thinking with a scarcity mindset instead of an abundance mindset. Just something to consider. I can talk about that, but let's just keep it there. So keep the lines of communication way open, no matter how much it hurts. And it won't hurt if you let go of your ego. All right, so check me out, elementsinharmonyacupuncture.com. I did promise to share a little thing about snoring. So if you want to listen to the snoring, I will go here and I will look her up. We'll call her B. And what's cool is I treated her, I want to say less than 5 treatments. All right, so her husband and her had been having snoring issues. After 2 treatments, she said, seems like we are on the right track. Saturday night was 3 hours, 2 minutes of snoring, and last night was 1 hour and 49 minutes. I did do a pseudo video earlier, so that was after 2 treatments. Now we're talking about 4 treatments. So she went from 3 hours of snoring to 1 hour and 49 minutes. 3 hours and 2 minutes to 1 hour and 49 minutes after 2 treatments. I will tell you exactly how many treatments she had and what dates those were. When you find out exactly how many treatments and how short of a period it was, you will be amazed. So we'll call her B. And the treatments in 2025 were March 17, April 12, April 13, April 14, April 15, April 16. So March 17, I treated something else and I told her that I can help with the snoring. So then we did April 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So a total of 5 treatments. And on April 14, she said, we're on the right track, 3 hours and 2 minutes to 1 hour and 49 minutes. And she had also been using a snoring and a sleeping app. And then she told me, I also gave one treatment was with massage and cupping and moxibustion. She was so happy about that. And on April 17, this was after the 5 treatments, my sleep quality last night was 100%. So it seems like I'm sleeping better too. I sent you screenshots of the time around 4:30 a.m. so you can hear the noise difference. So she was very happy because, and so was her husband, because she went from snoring to just. So the only first one on Saturday is the only one that sounds like snoring because she has a snoring app. Sunday is super light snore. Then the Monday, I do the thing where I'm blowing the air out lightly instead of snoring. Then the last Tuesday is just breathing. So you can hear the progression from snoring to just breathing. So every night it changes for the better. Also, I snored last night and it was cheat night. We ate pizza and I made cinnamon rolls for dinner. So I'm 100% positive now that definitely diet is related to snoring for her. Probably the dairy, carbs, sugar, all bad. So I'll tell you what happens tonight. I could tell I was more mucusy when I woke up this morning between the roof of my mouth. When we did the acupuncture, it definitely cleared the mucus from the top of my mouth and opened my breathing. So I'll keep you posted. This is a woman that I fixed her SIBO many years ago. People always want to know, what is SIBO? So let me give you the actual term SIBO. We did its small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and that was fixed with acupuncture years ago. Let me see. The snoring's back down after the treatment. So that, short and sweet. Just want to let you know what 5 treatments did to go from snoring, where it was really bad, to just breathing. So I wanted it to be more like 10 to 20 treatments. It's been since April 17. It is now May 8. With this patient, no news is good news. So I'll do another follow-up just to see how she's doing. But she was committed to, she was happy. She was happy. So this is a very, very long video. I hope that it helps at least one of you to just give love a chance. All right, check us out, elementsinharmonyacupuncture.com. And if you want to get pregnant naturally, let me give you our website. And we're so excited, naturalpregnancyspecialists.com/connect and conceive. naturalpregnancyspecialist.com/connect and conceive. And if you want to know my track record in helping women get pregnant naturally, creating powerful babies, I had a baby at 43. He was over 9 pounds. My kids were 7 pounds, 8.8 pounds, 9 pounds. If you want to know what the secret is, what my secret has been, and how it's a multifaceted tier program, check us out. Go to that website and you will find out exactly who to talk to, how to make an appointment so that we can help you conceive naturally. Otherwise, for non-fertility, go to elementsinharmonyacupuncture.com. All right, you take care.